678, what's up? My name is Helena Mullen and I am so excited that you are here with us tonight. Whether you're joining us in person or you're watching online, welcome. We are so glad that you're here. Tonight we are starting a brand new series called And Action. And if you can't tell, I have placed myself in one of my favorite TV shows, The Office. If you don't think it's funny, it's okay. It takes an advanced sense of humor. Anyways, before we get started tonight, I have a couple announcements. First, if you are in 8th grade going into 9th grade, this announcement is for you. CIY signups are open and you can sign up today at ccvlive.com/move. It's an amazing week during the summer that you will not want to miss. Second announcement is if you don't already, you should follow us on Instagram, Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. We post recap videos, updates, funny memes, and all kinds of things all week long. So before we get started, make sure you follow us, subscribe, and Pete will be up in just a few seconds.
What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us online. Welcome to March. We are officially into the year of March in 2021. Can you believe it's been a year since everything happened, since all the craziness with COVID and everything? It's been a full year. And here we are. We've made it, right? You and I, we are here. And again, I'm just so thankful that you are joining us online. We're starting a brand new series tonight, which I'm so excited about. And before we get into that, I want you right now to copy that link at the top and just send it to a friend right now. Text it, email it, send it to a friend, and just say, watch this with me, because I believe the series that we're diving into, the message that I'm going to be talking about tonight is specifically for you. And I think so many good things are going to be taken from it. So be sure to copy and share that link, and then make sure you have something to take notes on. Whether that's your phone, unless you're watching this on your phone, or grab a pen and paper and jot down any main points, any phrases, quotes, verses that you want to memorize. I highly encourage you to do so, okay? Are we all good? We're all ready? I'm so amped. I'm hyped for this message, and I hope you are too. But I want to start off with a very simple question, but one that's absolutely crucial to determine whether or not we can be friends. Okay, you ready? That question is, what is the best movie of all time? Of all time, of all genres, what is the best movie? Go ahead and put it in the comments, put it in the chat. Let me know what is the best movie of all time. I need to know. Now, what's interesting is that when you give your best movie of all time, I'm not just getting the best movie. I'm getting what actors you like. I'm getting the genre of movie you like. I'm getting the time of the movie you like, whether it's an older movie or a newer movie. I'm getting whether you like animation or in person more. So many things about movies, okay? And the reason I'm asking this question is because I don't know if you know this, but when Jesus was alive, Jesus was a carpenter, right? He built things. He worked with his hands and he worked with wood. But I recently heard someone say if Jesus was alive in the 21st century, like physically had a working job today, just like every one of us, Jesus would be a filmmaker. Now you may ask why that is, and it's simply because Jesus loved to tell stories. All throughout his life, he told these things called parables, which are tiny stories. And I think that Jesus would be a filmmaker, or I agree with the person who said that. I think Jesus would be an incredible filmmaker. We would be able to watch his stories, and we would be able to understand God better. We would be able to see his stories, see his movies, and we would be able to get a glimpse into how he saw things, what he thought about us, and I think it would completely change the way that we live. But I want to hear from you. What is your favorite movie of all time? And I just want you to list them, okay? Now, I can't give you mine because I hate these type of questions. I have too many. I have 17 favorite movies of every genre ever. I'm a movie buff. I love movies. But I want to ask also the question, why do we like movies? Like, why can we just waste hours watching movies? Maybe it's because we get lost in another person's world. Maybe it's because we connect with a character. Maybe it's just because it's a distraction from our current world. What, if I can ask, what character have you most connected with on a TV show or a movie? Isn't it a weird feeling when you're like, they're in the exact same position I'm in? They're responding the same. We are the same person. Have you ever had that with a character on a TV show or a movie? I know I definitely have. Maybe you felt like your life was a movie at some point. Like this scene, what just happened, it can't be real. It has to come out of a movie, right? In fact, I want you to write out these next few points. I want you to write these out And I want you to fill in the blank for these roles if your life was a movie. Okay? Humor me with this, but in fact, this is going to be an awards show. You're going to give an award right now for the roles in your life, and I want you to answer and fill in these blanks, okay? So, the winner for 2021 of whatever your movie is called, the main actor or the main actress award is, and I want you, it's most likely going to be you, but hey, you may have had someone play another main or major role, the main focus of your life. Maybe it was a grandparent or a parent or a sibling, someone major in your life. But don't let that distract from the next question. Who in your life would get the best supporting actor or actress role in your life right now? Basically, who's your best friend? This past year, your whole life, who would you give the best supporting actor or actress award to? I want you to think about this, okay? Now, you're going to have fun with this next one. What do you think was, what moment in your life would win the best comedic moment? Best comedic moment award right now. I want you to write down or think about it, connect with a friend where there was a time where your stomach literally hurt from laughing so much. Best comedic moment award. How about best drama, right? Maybe it was a breakup. Maybe it was just a suspenseful moment to where you were just really tense, maybe before a test or before finding out something about college, maybe an acceptance there. What was the best drama moment? And this last question trumps all of them. Are you ready for this one? I want you to give an award to the best director of your life. Best director of your life. Now I want you to think about this one. When it comes to you and your life, no one else, who directs your life the most? Do you even direct your own life? Like, again, just think about this. Maybe it's more of your parents, or maybe your grandparents, or just the environment that you grew up in. Maybe it's culture today. Maybe culture directs your life unintentionally. Maybe it's your phone. Maybe it's your feelings. Maybe it's even your thoughts. Actually think about it and answer the question, who directs your life? Or challenge me on this. Are we at the point to where we have to ask the question, what directs our life? Is it a person? Is it a being? Or is it more of a thing? The reason I ask this is because, believe it or not, you right now are in the middle of the most distracted and disconnected generation in all of history. Because with so many things going on, with so many things grabbing for your attention, oftentimes it's the loudest voice or the flashiest thing that gets you to make a decision. And before you know it, you end up not having much direction in your life at all. You don't even feel like you're living, you're just kind of existing. Have you ever felt that? Have you ever had 5 or 10, I'm not talking about TikTok, but have you ever had 5 or 10 minutes pass where you're just like, literally nothing just happened and life continued on? That happens 5, 10 minutes. Maybe it's happened in an hour. Sometimes it may not sound safe, but when I'm driving, I'll be driving and a couple minutes will go by and I'm like, I'm still driving, but that didn't feel like a couple minutes. And maybe this has happened over quarantine where you feel like it's been months, literally a year that you've been in your room and nothing has happened, but life has gone on. Are you missing direction in your life? Well, that is why we're starting this brand new series tonight, which is why I'm so excited for it. It's called And Action. Okay? And action. I want you to think of why directors say and action on a movie set. It's because your life is meant to have action, for you to take action, to be an active participant in it, not just a bystander, not somebody on the sidelines, but you have a role to play. And I want you to have passion about the life and the role that God created you to play. Okay? So I want to start this off. I want to start this series off with the same question, again, that every movie starts with. Who's directing it? Who's directing it? They ask it for movies, and I simply want to ask it for your life, okay? Maybe you can answer that question. If you have difficulty answering that question, think of these. Maybe it'll help. What influences a majority of your decisions, big or small? What influences a majority of your decisions? How about what holds a majority of your attention throughout the day? I'm not going to give any suggestions, but I want you to think for yourself. What holds a majority of your attention throughout the day? How about this one? What do you worry about the most? What do you worry about the most? Answering these questions should give you an idea of what it truly is that's directing your influences, your mood, and ultimately your behavior, which your life is shaped around. Now, my goal for you tonight is to recognize something that may seem obvious. You're at youth group, you're watching online, and yes, the main point, not surprisingly, is God wants to be the director of your life, okay? He truly does. God wants to be the creative vision behind your life and the reason that you do the things you do, encounter the people you do, and enjoy the relationships that you have, to live life to the fullest. John 10:10, Jesus says, I've created you to have a full life, okay? A full life, not a boring, passive life, but a full, active life. Now, I can say that, but I don't want to sound all surface level and churchy. I want you to think about, what does it look like for God to be the director of your life? Well, he doesn't want to control everything, believe it or not, but he does want to help you. He wants to, it's in the name, direct your life with what? Direction, okay? He doesn't want to control everything. He doesn't want to be a puppeteer of your life. He wants to direct you and guide you. It makes perfect sense. In fact, I want you to look at all these verses. They're going to be seen all at once. I'm going to go through them, and I want you to see just how much God wants to be that director for your life. Proverbs 16:9 says this, the heart of man plans his ways, but the Lord establishes his steps. Psalm 37:23 says, the steps of a man are established by the Lord when he delights in his ways. Isaiah 58:11 says, and the Lord will guide you continually and satisfy your desire in scorched places and make your bones strong, and you shall be like a watered garden, like a spring of water whose waters do not fail. Psalm 119:105 says, your word is a lamp to my feet, a light to my path. Again, talking about guiding. And then in the New Testament, John 14:26 says, but the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things, and he will bring you to remembrance all that I have said to you. Right there, it's so clear that so many times all throughout the Bible, God is telling us that he wants to help us, that he is there for us, to help us, to guide us, and direct us, only if we choose to trust him. You see, God will always extend his hand for help, but he'll never force his hand to control. And that's so crucial for you to realize. Maybe you should write that down. God will always extend his hand to help, extend his hand to be there, to help us and guide us and direct us, but he will never force his hand because he gave us the free will to choose to trust him or not. He doesn't force it if we constantly choose other things, if we constantly choose social media, extracurriculars, or any distraction we think directs our decisions. Now, when we come to the place to believe that God can and wants to be the director of our lives, we then can look at ourselves the same way a director would look at the main characters of a movie. And this is where you come into a huge, huge role. You actually come into your role, which leads me to my next point, and that is that God casted you. God casted you for the role that only you could play. Okay, I want you to think about this. God casted you for the role that only you could play, not for who the world wanted you to be. Think about that. When Jesus came into the world, they were expecting a soldier to overthrow the government, ride on a horse with a sword, and just be like this unbelievable warrior. Jesus showed up as a baby in a manger. He was not what the world expected, but he was what God called and how God casted him. This point is crucial when you come to believe that you are the only you God created. And the role you play in life, in this world, is one that no one else in the entire world ever could play. God placed you in your family. God gave you gifts and passions for a purpose. God has casted you for a life that only you can live. But get this, it will always fall short when you compare your role with someone else's. 1 John 4:4 says, you, dear children, are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. This is massive. This is so important. When God is the director of your life, you begin to see yourself the way he sees you and for what's inside of you, what he put inside of you, how he cast you for the role and the purpose and the calling that he has over your life, which is he sees you as worthy, important, valued, loved. The list goes on and on. God made no mistake when he made you. You're so important. I want you to think about this. You are so important to the story that God is trying to tell your friends and family. You are so crucial to the story that God is trying to tell your future kids. You are necessary. You are absolutely vital when it comes to your future kids having faith in themselves and having faith in God. But if you are too busy comparing yourself to everyone else, you will confuse roles and you'll never know the purpose that God has placed over your life because you're so concerned about everyone else's. I'll never forget when I just graduated college, I started to get serious about my faith. Again, much later than a lot of you guys. I started to get serious about my faith, and I was at my friend's house, and he had his mentor over there. And this guy's name, he didn't tell us till later on, but we were all sitting, and he was talking for about 30 minutes. And the wisdom that this guy had, he was just talking, and I was blown away by how he was talking about Jesus. And I was so enthralled by everything he was saying. And finally, one of my friends who showed up late, didn't realize who he was. He's like, "Yes? This may sound strange, but who are you?" Do you have one of those friends who they'll just say what they think without even really thinking about it? He's like, "Who are you?" And this old man, he was in his upper 80s, so smart, so wise. He looked at my friend and he said, "Well, son, I'm the John Williams," that was his name. "I'm the John Williams expression of Jesus. I'm the John Williams expression of Jesus." And that phrase has molded my idea of how God has called me to be the Pete expression of Jesus. For you to be the expression that only you can be, because maybe God has placed you and cast you for the role that you have in your family's life and in your friend's life, your social circle, in only the way that you can influence them. Maybe you should stop worrying about everyone else doing their job, and maybe you should worry about you knowing your role and the role that God has for you. That's who you are. You are the expression of Jesus. But again, you can't be that if you're too busy trying to be someone else or be like everyone else. Now, once God is the director of our lives, and now once we understand that we have a role to play that only we can, I want to encourage you, but also challenge you with my very last point, which is this. Stop acting and start taking action. Stop acting and start taking action. Now, I know the play on words there can be a little confusing, but I think a lot of us sometimes, we know to go to church, we know to hold the door open for old people, we know to be nice, to not be a jerk. We can go through the motions. But every actor worth their salt doesn't just go through the motions and memorize their script. They know their role. They know their responsibility. And that's called taking action, when they know their responsibility and they are living in action every day of their lives. And that's what you and I are called to do when it comes to our faith. We are called to take action. Here's what I mean. Here's another way to think about it. Why do you think actors know what to do when they're on set? Is it because they have a script? Maybe. Is it because they memorize their lines? I'm sure that helps a lot. Maybe it's because they know their co-stars and they know what they're supposed to do. Maybe going through the motions. Top class actors in movies, they know their role, they know their character, and they know their director. When Jesus was on earth, what were the two things he was most aware of? Who he was and who God was. That empowered him to live the incredible life that he lived. And if you're wondering who God is or what you're supposed to do, all you need to do is understand your role and understand the director. And I know you're young and you're not supposed to have it all figured out right now, but you can start, right? You can start taking action. You can start reading the Bible. Start devoting time to prayer. Start listening to worship music more. You can start doing these small things that will help you develop your role in life so that you get to know your director just a little bit better. Actors know their job because they know their role. And I want to ask you, do you know yours? What is your role as a believer? Well, I'm going to show you very simply a verse that you should memorize. You should write this down, say it every day, 5 times a day. It's super short, very easy. It's Colossians 3:23, and all it says is this: whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord and not for human masters. My favorite word is whatever. Whatever. Whatever you do, okay? Paul, who's writing this, is not saying, if you read the Bible 5 times a day, then do this. Paul is not saying, if you go to school for this, then do that. Paul's not saying, if you go to church 4 times a month, do this. Paul is saying, whatever career you end up in, whatever your job is, whatever your hobbies are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're talking to, whoever you're hanging out with, do it for God. Talk to that person as if you're doing it for God to make a difference in their life. However you're serving someone, do it as if it is Jesus serving them. Love them. Okay, that is your role. The way you live, the way you speak, the way you interact with your friends, and the decisions you make, does that fit the role that God has called you to? Think about this. Do people see the life you live and know that God is behind it? Or do they hear you say that He is, and then they see you live another way? We've all seen crappy actors in bad movies, and we don't ever want to watch Nicolas Cage again. We don't ever want to watch those movies again. Know your role, know your director, and in everything you do, do it for God. Paul said it this way. I want to leave you with this verse. Ephesians 4:1. Paul simply is encouraging them, and he says, "Then I urge you to live a life worthy of the calling that you've received." Live a life worthy of the calling you've received. Okay? You know those TikToks lately where it's been, if you're looking for a sign, then here it is. If you're looking for a sign in your faith to stop going through the motions, here it is. Live a life worthy of the calling to where when people look at you, they realize that something greater is behind it. Not just you trying to be like everybody else. God has created you for a purpose. He has given you a role, and He wants to be the director of your life if you choose to trust Him. So I want you to think about what that looks like in your life this week to take action. What does it look like in your friendships, in your family, to take action? As we continue to get to know God better, that picture becomes a lot more clear. Now, again, I'm so excited for this series. I'm excited for you to know your role, to know God as your director. And I'll catch you here again next week at 6.